What's up, y'all? It's Zell Media here, and I'm here to bring you Chapter 1081, Kuzan, the 10th Titanic captain. Let's get into it. First off, I'd like to apologize. I know that this video is coming up late, and I have my own reasons, but I'm just going to try and get it up before the official release on Sunday of Chapter 1082. Hopefully this doesn't happen again, but if it does, it is what it is. Also, I've been spoiled on 1082, so I'm going to remove the portion of the video where I guess what's coming up in the next chapter, because I just feel like it's unfair advantage. In the chapter, we'll start off with a cover serial. We see everyone is asleep on the cover serial. It's really interesting. It's all the boys, so the main core cast of the crew that are males, with the exception Sanji is awake. Everyone else is asleep, and Sanji seems to be reading a book that could either just be perceived as a cooking book, which makes sense. It's Sanji, he's the chef, he would be doing research on cooking. He's actually very intelligent, one of the more intelligent members on the crew. However, there is also a theory going around that is COC King, which would then portray Sanji as maybe being the next person to get a reveal of Advanced Conqueror's Haki or King's Haki. It's a very interesting theory, and while I would love to see Sanji get the Supreme King's Haki, I don't know if that's what this is a reference to, though it has been the case in the past that serials and coloring pages do bleed into the manga. Moving forward, we have the chapter. We start right where we left off last week, but this time we get a different angle, and we can see that the volume, right, the size of Garp's attack is much smaller in scale than we originally thought. It is about the size of a plaza. Now, he did destroy everything inside that plaza, and he did attack or knock out everybody with his Conqueror's Haki. However, he himself states that it's less destruction than what he's used to, which is interesting. It's another knock against his current power, but we'll see that in this chapter. His current power is not bad at all. He is a monster, okay? But also you have Blackbeard pirates going, that's not enough destruction for you? What monster are you? Right? It's really interesting, and it does give validity to Garp as a character when he was in the Roger era. Moving forward, we see Gru save the ship from falling to its death with a giant pile of clay. This is really cool. I still don't know what he is, whether it's Logia or Paramecia. I'm kind of hoping for Logia, because I feel like the clay fruit would be a really awesome Logia power. But we haven't seen Logias be manipulated like this before. He then goes on to say that he's going to sabotage Kobe because Kobe is who Garp sees as the future, and Garp being their trainer. This is really interesting. Him and Kujaku and Kobe are all getting reconnected, and as this is happening, we see Hibari get frozen. We know obviously that this is Aokiji and they don't play any games. Garp demands that he unfreeze Hibari, and Kuzan just has a flashback. As we get into the flashback, we see that Kuzan just froze everybody. He's been freezing people lately. It's his thing recently. He froze all of the Blackbeard pirates. We know why. They were pissing him off, and it's Kuzan. But he froze all the Blackbeard pirates, and Blackbeard barges in and finds Kuzan right there and then. However, they end up drinking together. I don't know how Blackbeard managed that. Maybe because Kuzan's disposition is slow and willing to let things play out. But they end up drinking together and they become fast friends, which is kind of weird. So Blackbeard seems to have a similar effect to Luffy, which is really interesting and really accurate, because we do see Blackbeard and Luffy as foils almost everywhere they go. So it's interesting to see that Blackbeard has that same kind of inspiring tactic. He walks in and after all their drinking, and Kuzan complaining about his loss to Alkainu, Katarina Devon brings up Burnscar, who, as we formerly knew him, was the man marked by flames. Now, something that's interesting to me is whether this is the difference between Yonko knowledge and youthful knowledge. I think that would be solved by having a better understanding of 1079. I don't remember if it was gone over in that chapter, but it is an interesting keynote there. But Kuzan doesn't know anything about Burnscar. It seems. Nobody knows who he is. Flat out, I think it's Jaguar Diesel. There we go. As this is ongoing, Lafitte actually pulls Blackbeard to the side and tries to get him to steal Aokiji's fruit. But Aokiji hears this and says that he will freeze everybody, and then freezes everybody, and Blackbeard's like, holy shit, no, that's not what we were. He's stupid, don't listen to him, he's just being a pissant. So eventually they kind of recuperate, and we get back to the current story, where Garp and Kuzan are now fighting. Kuzan tries to freeze Garp. Garp breaks free because his hockey's ridiculously strong, and then grabs Kuzan with a dragon fist that's similar to Sabo's teaching, so that kind of confirms that Garp taught Dragon how to fight. So Dragon should be a contender for one of the spots in the top 5. I don't list him personally because we don't know anything about him. Like, we don't even have any gauge for his power. But if I were to list him, I'd probably put him at like 1 through 5, nowhere less. Just based off of shonen tropes, right? But he casts him down into this blue hole, which is an opening in the ground that Garp opened somehow. I don't know. It's crazy. All I know is it was insane and it was good. And I'm really interested to know what happens in the next chapter. With that done, we change. Oh, actually, something I wanted to go over was Garp and Kuzan's conversation as all of this is going down. Garp seems to explain to Kuzan that he needs to rejoin the Navy. That's Garp's decision. That's how he sees what Kuzan should be doing. Kuzan seems to see himself as a free man, which is what him and Blackbeard talked about. However, I feel like Kuzan is fence sitting at this point, and because of that, he's not going to be able to beat Garp. And I think that this is shown in the conversation, that somebody with a weak will, someone who hesitates, can't stand in the same room as Garp. And Garp knows this because he hesitated. He hesitated all throughout Marineford, and look where it got him. That's why he's here now. That's why he's trying to fight. So it's a really interesting conversation, the back and forth that happens between them. But ultimately, it looks like Garp's winning right now. Excuse me. I have a cough. Now, we don't end the chapter just yet. Instead, we get 2 more pages of absolute glory. Maybe 3 pages of absolute glory. We head over to Winter Island, where Law is thoroughly giving Kid a run for his money. Okay, Kid fans get to be happy because Kid wasn't the only one who loses his crew today. Okay, Law is definitively declared the loser. Same as Kid, he loses his crew. It is what it is. His ship's gone. His crew's obliterated. Now, something that is important is that Beppo comes out of nowhere as Law is being told by Blackbeard that Blackbeard's going to take his life and take his fruit because he doesn't think that Law is going to perform the immortal surgery on him. As that all of that's going on, Beppo comes out of left field, turning into Sulong and smacks Blackbeard like he's Chopper from freaking Eddie's Lobby. So that's insane. Chopper seems to have actually given him a modified version of the Rumble Ball. So Chopper Pill Popper, okay, is out here, Dr. Pill Popper, and Law seems to be like deeply regretting the fact that even though they do get to escape, Law isn't dead. He's not in as dire a situation as seems as Kid. I'll give him that. He is pretty upset that his crew is dismantled at this point. And Beppo reassures him by being like, hey, we survived all that time in the North Sea where it's very cold. They'll be able to live this out. We can regroup later. So it looks like everybody's getting their Saboti moments right now. So I'll put this chapter at a 9.2 out of 10. Again, Oda is in his bag, bruh. He is going crazy. So I'm really excited to see what's happening in the next chapter. I'm going to go read it now that I'm done filming this video. See you guys next week. Have a great day.